Baby steps?
It means setting small, reasonable goals for yourself, one day at a time. One tiny step at a time.
Baby steps.
Baby steps.
Oh boy. Baby steps.
Hello, my name is Jay, and I forgot to do my homework assignment that I gave myself from last episode. I was going to record a podcast episode just a few days after uploading the last one, and I did not do that. And the reason I did not do that is because I didn't really do enough research on what I wanted to talk about. I mean, what I wanted to talk, there were a couple of different things I wanted to talk about. Neither I really got enough notes together to really say anything that made any sense. Even now, I still don't really have enough notes together to say anything that makes any real sense. But I got to do something without overthinking it, because I am doing this just like last episode, last minute. I'm going to talk about hypnotherapy again. This is going to be the part 2 episode. Even if I'm not ready, even if I don't have all my notes together, I'm going to talk about it. At the end of it, I'll kind of explain my overall thoughts of my experience with hypnotherapy. But for right now, let me just kind of run through, since this is part 2, the one-on-one sessions that I did. Part 1 was mostly about the group sessions. This is going to be about the one-on-one sessions that I did. All right, so I did 7 total. The first one was free. The first one was kind of like a consultation, I guess. And the first one was just about wanting to be happier and more positive in my day-to-day life. The way that it went, because it was a free session, it was actually half as long. It was actually the same length as the group sessions, but half as long as the paid one-on-one sessions that I would do later. But because it was just the free one-on-one session, it was pretty much structured exactly like the group therapy sessions, where it's like the exact same script, the exact same things that are being said to me and fed to me, but now there's an interactive element to it. It's still not quite that personalized. The paid one-on-ones are more personalized, but this one is more just whatever I say, and I'm allowed to actually speak because it's not the group therapy, it's the one-on-one. Whatever I say would now be said back to me by the hypnotherapist. And that's pretty much that's basically the way that first session went. It was just the group therapy session, but with a little bit of interactivity. I should also say, in a lot of these therapy sessions, I would be told pretty much the same script throughout the first half of them, and the second half of them would be a little more varied. And in the second half, it's always me kind of trying to change it up, trying to imagine myself in a different location, or imagine myself just in a place that maybe I would have never normally thought of before. Like, something that's cool about being in this relaxed state is that I'm able to come up with images that I would not normally come up with if I'm like wide awake, eyes open, looking around. So that was an interesting aspect of it. The second session was about 2 hours long. So the first session, the free one, was an hour. All the other ones were 2 hours long. And this one was all about self-assessment, and still leaning more towards, trying to be happy, trying to be positive. And it was analyzing different aspects of myself. So an intellectual side of myself, an emotional side of myself, and I think a personal side of myself. That one I can't remember exactly, but I know that was the one that was more of like, this is the version of me that I want to be. The intellectual part of myself is, this is the version of me where I can be comfortable being alone and wanting to learn new things. And the emotional part of myself was me actually being very afraid to be alone, having a lot of doubts, and just feeling like a scared kid all the time. So that was me pretty much just summoning while I'm in this like dreamlike state. And I should say that about all these sessions, is that I would be put in sort of a very relaxed state, never asleep, always still kind of aware of what's going on. I mean, no, definitely aware of what's going on, but in a relaxed enough state that I will be open to suggestions. I will be open to whatever is being said to me, to the point where I'm like, okay, some of the stuff may sound a little silly, maybe stuff that I don't 100% get or understand, or, there's still some skepticism in me, but I'm willing to play along. Which I noticed throughout most of these hypnotherapy sessions is that I don't know if I really believe in this anymore, but I'm willing to play along. And almost all of these sessions, It was this like summoning a figure in front of me and having to talk to that figure and see what they know, what my subconscious knows, that maybe I've neglected or maybe I put off or maybe I just don't really think about. So that was kind of interesting doing that self-assessment. The next paid session, parts therapy, pretty similar to the previous one, but this third session was about taking more risks and pushing myself. The parts therapy, I ended up talking to like this skeleton figure, which ended up kind of being a collection of the three parts of me from the previous session. So there was an intellectual, an emotional, and a personal aspect to this character. And as I was talking with them more, trying to talk with them, because that's something that I noticed throughout these sessions, is that it was actually really difficult for me to just get words out of these figures, because a lot of the time I'm fully aware that these guys, like, I have to give them words to tell me. They're not going to tell me anything. I have to feed them stuff to tell me because I'm not like completely in this 100% convinced area of mind where I can just let go and let my mind kind of work its magic. It's like, no, I got to do a lot of heavy lifting here if I want to get information out and actually do stuff. But talking to the skeleton figure, I think it was just like talking to them and kind of sort of finding out what I need to do in life to just be a little more relaxed, a little more comfortable, just not stress out over stuff so much. So that was kind of interesting doing that one. So this fourth session was actually the one that kind of stood out the most, one of the ones that stood out the most. This one was about organization. It was structured sort of like a fairy tale. I was almost like being read like a story. And all these little things were kind of like popping up. All these little figures and words and things were popping up that I was being told. And then it became an interactive part again, which is like, ah, man, I really like this fairy tale storybook kind of aspect to it. And now I have to sort of come up with stuff out of my head that I can't really come up with. It was difficult. But what ended up happening was I came up with images of three different trees. One that has like no bark, but it's this it's basically just like a totem pole or something that has like no bark and it's just this very light wood. And the second tree was this really like brittle, hollow, dark, very creepy kind of looking tree. Third tree, very bright, very colorful, a lot of leaves. And I kind of had to sort of make a guess. And I do this at the end of every session. So I talk with my hypnotherapist a little bit about what meaning there is to it. And I kind of just took a guess that these three trees were representing the three different parts of myself from the earlier session, where it was like one's intellectual, which I think was the bear tree that had a light wood color to it. It seemed like it was in good shape. The emotional side of myself was the hollow one that was falling apart, looked very spooky, and the personal one was the one that was very, very, very lush, very, very green. And that's kind of all I got from it. And at the end, like all the trees kind of merged together into this like ball that looks like Earth, I guess. And I didn't really know what to make of that other than maybe this is me kind of accepting all these different sides to myself and realizing that they need to function together in order to be this solid unit. I don't know. Again, it's something I had to just take a guess on. But the storybook aspect of this one was really cool, and I did like that part of it. Now, session number 5 was about being uncomfortable and just feeling okay, feeling fine when I'm uncomfortable. Not worrying, not stressing, not feeling scared, just being like, it's okay. It's okay to be uncomfortable. Just don't let it hurt you. And this one was it was like time travel. It was trying to find the first moment in my life that I felt uncomfortable or anxious. And I thought maybe 3, 4 years old. And it was just me kind of placing myself in an instance where I was basically in a party with a lot of grown-ups, a lot of relatives, and my parents come from very big families. They have a lot of siblings, so a lot of aunts, a lot of uncles, a lot of family, and just seeing them as like a 3 or 4 year old just tower over me and just look like these very intimidating giants And I imagine this might have been the first moment in my life where I was uncomfortable, where I was just like, I don't like how I'm feeling right now. And a lot of this session was just getting into a time machine and going, trying to get further and further back. It's like, are there any moments further and further back that might have traumatized me or might have affected me in a way that kind of shaped me to be just a very anxious and uncomfortable person throughout most or the rest of my life. And I was remembering events that are things that I do think about sometimes. So it wasn't something where I was like, this isn't something that was buried in my head and I just never thought about. No, there are three things or four-ish things. Some things. Some things came up where I'm like, okay, I just have to come up with something to talk about, to bring up. So let me come up with things that I do remember from when I was very young. One thing was something that I wouldn't call it traumatizing, but it was a one of my first memories and a very vivid memory was when a pet cat that I had when I was about 3 or 4 years old, probably 3 years old, and had her for many years afterward. One day when I was just like lying in bed in my room, she comes up to me and I guess maybe I was playing with her, maybe I was doing something she didn't like, but she sticks one of her claws right into my wrist. And to this day, I still have a tiny red dot on my right wrist from where she stuck her claw in me. So that was one thing that we kind of explored, that moment right there. Another thing that we explored was an instance when I was young, and I don't even remember how old I was. I could have been not 3 or 4, maybe older, probably maybe 5, maybe 6, I have no idea, where I fall asleep in the bathtub. Water is shallow though. Like, I'm fine. I just fall asleep in the bathtub. My sister finds me, and then she just kind of runs to my parents and be like, it's okay. He's breathing. Like, this is something they remember more than I do, but it was something that I've heard them tell a lot. Just like, don't worry, he's okay, he's breathing. And then my parents get really freaked out, run to the bathroom, and realize that I'm asleep in the bathtub. My head is not in the water, my face is not in the water, I'm breathing fine. But I know that was like a really scary moment for my parents. So that was something we explored a little bit. Another thing we explored, and this is a dumb thing, but it I would actually label this as a traumatizing thing. As dumb as it's going to sound, but I'm still going to bring it up. When I was maybe 2 years old, I saw maybe not the entire movie, but portions of the 1994 Jim Carrey movie, The Mask. And I remember for many, 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 many years after seeing that, that I had nightmares about that masked character, about that green face, stretchy limbs, very animated, very kind of can do whatever he wants, whenever he wants kind of thing. That freaked me out. That character freaked me out. That face creeped me out. The antics of that character freaked me out. And it would for many years. I would get nightmares about that thing for many years. And it would always be the Freddy Krueger type of nightmares where I'm running up the stairs and my feet are getting stuck in the stairs. And as I'm going up, it seems like more and more stairs are just kind of coming out of nowhere and just making it harder for me to get up there and get away from this creature that just keeps gaining on me and gaining on me and getting closer and closer. And it would always end up with me going into the bathroom, the same bathroom that I fell asleep in, where this masked figure would find me in there. The door would be locked. He would unlock the door, come on in, and then I scare myself awake, basically. And I would have those kind of nightmares until I was about maybe 9 years old. For a long time, for many, many years, nightmares about that, to the point where I had to pretty much just sleep every night in either someone else's room or with the lights on. It was bad. And my parents knew about this, and I don't want to say they didn't take any action to sort of fix this or do anything about it. I don't know what they could have done about it. I don't know what I could have done about it, because it seemed like apart from, nighttime, apart from sleeping, I was fine. I was fine when I was a kid. I had friends like to goof around, like to go outside and play around and stuff like that. It was basically just nighttime that sucked for me when I was very young. So that was something that we explored, those kind of things in this session. And this was also something where, and this would carry over into the other session as well, where there would be a lot of interaction with my dad. He would pop up a lot. There would be times where he would like read bedtime stories to me. One of the things I talked about was there would be times where he, like, his bedtime story wouldn't even be a bedtime story. It'd be him just talking about like some science thing, and it would almost always be about rods and cones. Where I guess because I was so afraid of the dark because of the mask and some other things, he would always say, if you just and I I apologize if I'm getting the science wrong in this thing. This is just kind of how I remember it. But when it is dark and our eyes are open, after a little bit of time, our eyes will adjust to the dark and we can actually start to see some things. We'll start to see structures. We'll start to see like doorways. The little bits of light that are around us will actually make it a lot easier to just sort of see everything else that is going on. And he would tell me this kind of thing you think I'd remember it better because he would tell me it a lot, but he told me this at bedtime a lot when I was a kid. Instead of like saying like, story of like Three Little Pigs or Rumpelstiltskin or something, which he would tell me those a lot. He would tell me those bedtime stories a lot. He loved putting on funny voices for them. It was great. He was amazing at doing bedtime stories. But he would definitely tell me about the rods and the cones a lot as well. So that was something that was brought up, and that was something that we talked about. All right. Next session after that, regression. Actually, the previous one, as well as this one, and the last one, are all regression. The thing we were going over was social anxiety in particular, and wanting to feel or be, or just have it be easier for me to socialize. And in this session, we were focusing particular, and another conflicting thing, social anxiety, but not really because it does work out in the end. We focus on particular on negative traits that I probably developed from my parents. And it was this really cool kind of, it wasn't so much interacting with the hypnotherapist, it was more interacting with my mom and dad in this situation. They didn't really say a lot. I didn't have them say a lot, which is fine. It was more of an actionary type of thing, which was great. That's kind of what I wanted these hypnotherapy things to be anyway. Like, I'm fine with the interactive stuff, but I'm not fine when I'm told, okay, what are they saying right now? What are they telling you? I don't know. They're not saying anything. Do I have to say that they're saying something? That was always a very difficult part in all these hypnotherapy sessions, was just trying to listen to what my subconscious was saying, I guess. Very difficult. Didn't always work out, but I did my best. But not a lot of talking in this one. Being fed a lot of situations, being told a lot of things to do, which was great. Didn't really have a lot of words for my subconscious to sort of like tell my hypnotherapist. But yeah, this one was cool because a lot of it was, because it is about negative traits and was also about social anxiety, was me doing this thing where I was in front of my parents and I like unzip my skin and I take out all of the yuckiness, all of the awful feelings, everything that is inside of me, put them in a box, zip myself back up, and then I just give that box to my parents and tell them, I don't want this, I don't need this, get it away from me, this is something you guys gave me and I don't want it anymore. And then another part of the session, continuing from that, was not only getting rid of something from them, something they gave me, and either giving it back to them or just getting rid of it. It wasn't just that. It was also, what can I take from them? Something positive can I take from them that I can bring into my life on a day-to-day basis, or I can just have it be a part of me and realize this was something good my parents gave me. I don't have to just focus on the negative aspects. And it was cool because I was able to come up with two things where I'm like, these are actually very positive things about my parents that I don't know if they're a part of me, but maybe I can make them be. I mean, I'm sure they're in there somewhere, so maybe I can pull them out. One thing was that my dad, and I've said this before, he liked to be silly. He liked to be a jokester. He liked to sort of, not all the time, but he liked to sort of lighten the mood, especially around kids. He really liked to lighten the mood around kids. He really wanted to make sure that they were in a fun and safe place. My mom, this was something that I realized, you know what, she is like this. And this is something that I really could take from her and learn from her. She has said before that she has anxiety. She is nervous all the time. She worries all the time. Everything that she kind of experiences, I experience too. but she pushes herself because she knows that she has to. And something that is really cool is that, and I've known this, but just doing this therapy session made me realize my mom takes a lot of risks. She takes a lot of risks. She puts herself in situations she does not want to be in, that she is not comfortable in, but she pushes herself. And my mom is a very talkative person. She says that she either doesn't like to talk, or she just considers herself very very introverted, very withdrawn. But she's talkative, and that's because she pushes herself. And this is something that I could glean from her as well, is I don't have to freeze up in situations because I feel like I can't get through it. I can allow myself to talk if I want to. I can push myself to do things that I don't want to do. This kind of goes back to a few sessions ago about taking risks. It's coming up again. I don't have to let my anxiety get in the way. This one was by far my favorite of all the sessions that I did. Not just because there wasn't a lot of talking with these figures that were in front of me. Like, these figures that I had in front of me were actual figures. These were just people I knew. My mom and my dad. Yeah, I can just imagine them clearly in my head. But it was also a very visceral experience to just sort of shed this weight off of me. It was also the session that I just felt like I got the most out of. The one that made the most sense to me, one that when I was being told to do something or say something, I'm like, I know exactly what is going to happen in this situation. Like, I was very confident, very clear about this particular session because this was the one that kind of resonated with me the most. So this one was great. I enjoyed this one a lot. Last session, session number 7, this one is all about just being at peace with what's around me. So it kind of goes back to the being uncomfortable, but not letting that affect me so much. It's like being okay with being uncomfortable, basically. And from what I remember about this session, it didn't even happen that long ago, so I should remember more than I think I do. 2 figures were in front of me, one wearing a heavy coat and another wearing basically the same clothing, but it wasn't heavy. He was a skinnier person. They were twins, and they were supposed to lead me to some sort of path, some sort of explanation about me just being uncomfortable and anxious all the time. And this is what the session was really about. Codependency. I forgot. This last session was all about how codependent I am, how much I rely on other people, how much I'm afraid to be alone, how much I feel clueless when I'm alone and stupid when I'm alone. So that's what this last session was really all about. Because that is something I really need to break that habit of just feeling like I cannot do anything without someone else holding my hand. Like I said, there were these twins. They were leading me down this path. They were leading me through this dark maze. Like, I open this door and then everything's just pitch black, and then I have to find one of the other twins in this pitch black maze, essentially. And I was trying to do my part, but it seemed like my hypnotherapist was getting very impatient with me, and they just go, okay, another door opens and it leads you to another place. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm not in this maze anymore. Maybe that's for the best, because I would probably just be stuck and lost in the dark forever, which I don't want to be, metaphorically, or for real. So, open that door. I'm on this deserted island, this very, very, very tiny island. One other person is there. Hey, I found the twin, but he's not wearing the skinny jacket, the whatever he was wearing before. Then the one in the heavier clothing shows up, takes me to the middle of the ocean. Nothing's around me. I don't see any islands. I don't see anything at all. And he does this thing where he just kind of opens his chest. He opens his jacket and just sucks me into this black hole. But now I'm just kind of one with this figure, and I'm just kind of looking at the ocean through his POV. And these voices just kind of start talking to me inside my head, being like, you're okay, you're fine, don't worry, you're not alone, we're here, that kind of thing. And I think those were supposed to be just voices of my family and friends, and it was just supposed to let me know that even when I'm alone, there's people out there that love me, that care about me. So I should not worry. If I'm in a situation that I'm uncomfortable with, or if I'm in a place where I feel like I can't do something on my own, I just need to remember I have a support system. I have people that, yes, I can depend on and I can rely on, but I know they're going to be there for me when I just don't feel like I'm at my best. So if I'm having a really bad time by myself, I just got to remember this part will be over. I'll get to meet up with other people in my life that are important to me, and they'll kind of put me into perspective, kind of put me in check, and realize that being around with people that love me and care about me, that I love, that I care about, that's where I'm happiest. That's where I'm safest. That's where I should really think that life is worth living because of that. So that was the last session. Overall, of these 7 sessions, I was very uncomfortable for most of them. And I think, and it's not even necessarily because I was dipping into my subconscious and trying to extract certain things that maybe I hid away. I think it was more so that it was just very difficult for me to do what my hypnotherapist wanted me to do and have it make sense. And a lot of the times it didn't make sense to me. And their explanation was, well, you were in a dreamlike state. It probably won't. It probably won't make sense to you because when you're asleep, when you have dreams, a lot of stuff that pops in your head just, doesn't make sense. And I'm just like, okay, great. Now that it's been a few weeks since a week or two, I guess, since my last hypnotherapy session, here's kind of how I feel. And I've noticed this just in the past few days. And I've kind of noticed this throughout every session as well, but mainly throughout the past few days. Things that I was struggling with. Being social, being uncomfortable a lot, being on my own a lot, not feeling productive, which was kind of the whole organization thing that I brought up before. Pretty much just anxiety overall and just wherever I experience it. I'm starting to clean out my room. I'm starting to clean out stuff that I don't need. Boxes that I've just had in my closet that I'm like, why do I have this? Let me just recycle it. I don't need this in here. It's like a box for all these consoles that I have. I'm like, I don't need these. Just get rid of them. There's no reason for me to hang on to them. So I've been doing a lot of that. I've been doing a lot of just organizing, cleaning things out, trying to have a more minimalistic thinking, working, living space so that I don't feel so overcrowded with stuff that I'm never going to attend to or never going to do anything with. Also, a few days ago, I went to the movies. I did another double feature on my own, took an Uber there and back. Still not at the point of driving yet, but another thing that I am going to do, I am planning on taking some driving lessons with a professional. Maybe 6 or 7 of these driving lessons. I'm not entirely sure yet. There's a lot of different package options. But I think this is a great step. It's weird. I can't really rely on a lot of my family and friends to help me with the driving because they're busy. They get other stuff in their life. Even when I say, hey, I'd like to do this. I'd like it if you'd help me. They don't give me a good enough answer, or they don't just back up what they say and be like, all right, we're going driving today. That's what's happening. Trying to get anyone to drive with me or just kind of help me get more comfortable with driving has been difficult. So I think taking some driving lessons sounds great. And there's one package where I take 6 driving lessons with a professional, and then I get a free defensive driving lesson after that, which sounds pretty nice. And I might take that because I know that is something that I will hopefully not make my confidence worse behind the wheel of a car, make it better, where I'm just more attentive to things around me, which is something I definitely do stress about when driving. I'm always afraid there's just going to be something that pops out in front of me and I'm going to react way too late, and then I don't even want to think about what happens after that. Anyway, a few days ago, was at the movies, did another double feature, took an Uber there, took an Uber back. That whole day, I just kind of spent it on my own, just kind of did my own thing. There was I'll call it a weird situation because it was a weird situation, but it ended up not being too bad afterward. Somebody did strike up a conversation with me when I was in line for the second movie that I was going to see. I probably could have just gone to the kiosk inside and just bought a ticket that way instead of having to go outside. But I didn't do that. I really should have did that, but I didn't do that. That's okay. Lesson learned. Life is all about making mistakes, learning from them, and then using what you learn to make it a bit easier and more manageable, right? I was in line for my second movie. I had a water bottle with me that I bought inside the theater. Guy comes up to me and says, they're not going to let you take that in. And it took me a second or two to realize that he was talking to me. And then once I figured that out, I'm like, oh no, I already saw a movie. I just came out of the movies. I'm going to see another one. I bought this water bottle in there. I think I'll be okay. He just kept saying like, yeah, I've tried taking drinks in there before and they wouldn't let me. And I'm just like, I think I'll take my chances. And there was a little bit of back and forth with him. We started talking about movies for a little bit while we were in line. It was a longish line. It wasn't too long, but it was a busy Tuesday. It was a busy discount day at Cinemark. There was more people than I thought there were going to be, but a lot of people were there to see Superman because that's the big movie that's out right now. That's the one that everybody is putting their money in to watch, and they should. It's a fun movie. It's a decent movie. Makes me want to go back and watch some other Superman movies. But anyway, chat a little bit in line. I buy my ticket. I go get my seat, put my drink down, leave the theater to go use the bathroom real quick before the movie starts. As I'm leaving, I see the guy there. I just kind of do a little like, kind of like a head nod, just be like, hey, and he just kind of does it back, and it's just like, okay, cool. Then things got even weirder because I'm in the bathroom for a few minutes. I come back. The dude is sitting right next to my seat, which really weirds me out. And we're not really saying that much to each other either. I mean, we're just kind of watching the trailers, and every once in a while he'd be like, oh, that looks fun. That looks like a cool movie or something. Then he introduces himself to me, and then I kind of introduce myself back. We shake hands, and after a little bit, he's just like, all right, it was cool meeting you or whatever. We get a fist bump, and he just kind of like goes down to like the front row of the theater to like watch the movie. And I'm like, oh, thank God! Like if he was sitting next to me the whole movie, it would have stressed me the heck out. Like it would have made me feel really weird. It would have made me probably just get out of my seat, go to the front booth and be like, can I exchange this for another movie? I don't want to see Superman anymore. I'd rather go to a different movie, which I did actually consider doing a few times, but no, it ended up being fine. Just had a chat with a stranger about movies for a little bit. That's all. A little weird, but not too bad, and I was able to get through it. So, yeah, some good, some interesting things. I don't know if all this is from the hypnotherapy. It could be. Maybe it's just I want it to be, so I don't feel like I wasted money. But yeah, there have been some things in my life that have been coming up lately that I'm just like, okay, certain things are happening right now. I feel like I'm making a little more progress in life and I'm getting a little more comfortable with myself, even though I'm still very uncomfortable all the time. But I am noticing changes. And that's just kind of what I'll say about, I'll just kind of leave it here with that, with hypnotherapy, is that whether it worked or not, I don't really know. I have noticed changes after doing it. Certain things have happened, certain things have come up where I'm just like, okay, I am no longer just waiting around for something to happen. I'm just kind of, if things just happen, I got to roll with it. And if things don't happen, I got to find a way to make them happen. So overall, hypnotherapy was a very unusual, uncomfortable, but interesting experience. I enjoyed some of it. Most of it was very, very strange to get through. And I'm hesitant to, because I can actually do something to get myself another free session. I don't know if I want to, honestly. That's kind of why I've been hesitating to do that, because I don't know if I want to go back and do another session. But I will say this, and this is where I'm going to end it. During the session where my parents showed up, and I pretty much give all the negative feelings and negative yuckiness inside of me and give it back to them. I knew that because this was all about negative traits, that the people that I should be seeing and talking to should be my parents. But the thing is, when I was told a figure, maybe two figures, are going to be in front of you right now in like 5 seconds, and I get this countdown like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Within that countdown, my parents weren't going to show up. It was somebody else that was going to show up. It was actually going to be my high school crush that was going to show up. And then I just thought, no, this has to be my parents. This cannot be this person right now. This would be really weird. This would come out of nowhere. I do not want this right now. And then I kind of brought this up afterward to my hypnotherapist. And they thought that maybe we should do the next session all about my high school crush, because I'm sure there definitely is a lot of negative feelings, negative thoughts, a lot of uncomfortableness there, a lot of bad memories there, a lot of stuff there that definitely infected my anxiety. And that is something that I could probably explore with a free session if I so choose. If not, I know there's actually and this is one of the topics that I thought about doing but didn't do instead, there is something that I can talk about for an episode that would actually involve that high school crush, as well as some other things. It's going to be a weird episode. If I do it, it's going to be a very uncomfortable thing to talk about. It's going to be something that I have to be really careful about talking about because I know there's some people, not many, some people that listen to this podcast that know who I am. But it is something that I do plan on doing because I think it's important to talk about. If I'm going to do these topic-based episodes, this is a very important thing to talk about because it is a huge part of my anxiety. And it is a huge part of something that I'm trying to overcome, work through, and not let it affect my life anymore. So that may or may not be the next episode, but I would love to do that as an episode. Just talk about that whole situation, other adjacent situations to that. But until then, once again, my name is Jay. Thank you very much to anybody at all that found this and listened to it. I really appreciate it. Have a great day, everyone, and bye for now.